Howdy. I have lost my mouse. Uh-oh. Oh, here we go. There we go. We'll wait one more minute because people tend to think, oh, it's 6 o'clock. I'll find the Zoom link. And it takes them a moment. Hello, hello. Sorry for ruining the weekend. I had no idea. Not a Scooby when I scheduled this. Although it's freezing. So well, not freezing, but it's quite cold. Hello, hello, hello. So then, highlight of the day, yes. VE Day. I just went to a street party and had 2 hot dogs. This has come around quick. Okay. Yes. So, has everybody had a bash at the ebook? Had a look at the ebook at least. So obviously this is the first time we're doing this. It's always fun to do something for the first time because it's fresh, it's exciting, it's something that I've been working on. It's not like I'm just repeating something. So that's always fun. But also then there's the kind of curveballs of people's questions and being like, oh yeah, and all the things all the blind spots coming up. So bear with on that. But I think we're good. So what we're going to do is run through it. I've made a load of slides and I've made a load of prompts and I've created some meditations. So it's kind of a blending of, looking straight at the astrology, but we're looking at specific things and thinking, okay, if we want to propel life forwards and if we really want to tap into some part of us that's powerful and lucky and constructive, useful, we want to start to use our chart because the chart can be so many things. Like, the first exercise is what does your sun say? Which house is your sun in? Blah, blah, blah. What aspects are there to your sun? Now that relates to the type of person you want to date sometimes, it's something about your parents. It's something about your work and career, but it's also something about your hobbies. It's so many things, but we're looking at everything through the lens of how can I make this about me being more vibrant and shiny and attracting, getting really into alignment. I have used ChatGPT prompts just because it gives us brainstorming, but if you hate AI, that's fine. You can just brainstorm. And then straight up meditation, straight up, close your eye, like imagine the god. And if any of you need any help with like who is your chart ruler or bits and bobs, that's why we're doing this live, so you can ask those sorts of questions. I did get up the ebook earlier, The Witch Houses. Where's it gone? Oh, that's annoying. Here it is. I'm going to try and send this to you now because then it's in the chat box. I imagine you all know this already, but you might not. So how do I do this? Screenshot. How do you put things in the group chat? I've never tried.
Do you have a link to it? You can just add the link.
No, I don't. My computer. Rising signs. Who said that, by the way? It's there.
There's also a little screenshot button that I don't know what that does. Oh,
Oh, that's yeah. Okay, that's
okay.
great. I don't want to press that again. Oh God, cancel. Right. So the rising sign thing is there. If you got that, most of you probably know it, but it's going to be useful for just you can find out what if your rising sign is X, then if we're using whole sign system, which is one of the options, and you've got all the answers there. Okay, great. So it is 6 minutes past 6, and I will get going with the PDF, which is kind of hiding. I had it as a PDF, but we can do it like this. There we go. You can see that pink screen. It's pin me. So you're here for the concept, but what's she actually going to do? I've just explained all that. So you've got the ebook at the ready, and so have I. And actually, if I were being clever now, I could have both of them. I could also have the screen up. Let's do that. You ready? Are you ready? Ecamm. And then source. Sorry. Oh God. Maybe I'm going to give myself 1 minute to try and be clever. And if being clever doesn't work, I will just revert to stupid. I don't know what you can see now. I am just going to revert to not trying to be clever because it's too hard. So we'll go back to this. Present. Because you've all got the ebooks. You don't need me to show you that. Another day, I think, if my brain was on full steam, I could do that, but I would say not today. Okay, you can see me, you can see this, that's all good. You've got your ebooks. I have got the ebook here, so I can look at it, or at least I did until 2 seconds ago. And yes, we're going through the both. So this is the list. You know that, you've got it. The sun. So, like I just said, kind of spoiler, you can be looking at all these things, but we're looking at your professional life. So, what is the essence of what you bring? So that the house that your son is in, and I keep this interactive, by the way. So you've got the chat box here. Hello. So does everyone know which, like, just whack in the chat box which house your son is in? 8th house sun, Zoom loop user. That's why she doesn't have a name. 7. Okay, brilliant. Everyone's got their houses. And then which sign, you can whack it in. Now, does anybody need any help with aspects? Because also the aspects are super interesting. And does anyone need the concept of dispositor explaining? Gemma's saying yes. Happy birthday, Gemma. I think dispositor, please. Okay, let's use people's charts. If you use your chart, it will be saved in the recording. Your date of birth is being shared with everybody. So there's about 60 people. Just FYI. So you might want, if you want to use fake charts, then you can. But I always say this when people are like, I don't care. Tell me about me. But just reminding you that that's a thing. So Gemma, because it's your birthday, will you do you first? And then everybody else. We'll try. I mean, we're not going to do everybody's chart, are we? But Jay. If that's okay, Gemma, unless you want to be secretive, I didn't think. Unmute, please.
Hello.
Great.
71,
That's it. Time?
9:10 a.m.
Place.
Leeds.
Leeds. When did you leave Leeds?
About 6 months after that.
Yeah.
Or a year, maybe.
What the hell? My screen is crazy. Help me. Source.
It's getting my husband out of shot.
You can
Hang
stay.
out in the project.
Source, screen share. Oh God. iPad. This tech is absolutely nuts. I have the special tech for sharing my screen, you know that. Okay, it's suddenly working. Let's just go with it. There we go. But I had a whole client, was it yesterday or the day before? For the whole session, I couldn't get, I just couldn't get the chart. And I've reset it all and now we are there. Okay, you can see this, Gemma. Everybody can see this. So we'll put this in here, save, so I can draw on it, freeform. Nope. Sarah, you're still here. Okay, so we can go through a few concepts here. And this is for everybody. Everybody can see the chart, yeah? And the pen. Tell me, because I can't see you.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So when we're looking at the sun and we're looking at this identity and who is she and how is she going to shine? So the first question I think that I put is which house is it in? So we can see that it's the 11th house. And the next question is which sign? Well, it's Taurus. And then what aspects is this sun making? We kind of want the big, interesting aspects, which is sun, trine, moon. Have you got any other aspects that you really like to consider?
Well, I was told I had a grand trine, but I don't know what that is or where.
Oh, that's the air,
Okay.
I would say. I would say the trine is not the answer to this question, so we
Fine.
won't go there. And I think if we're thinking about, right, what's Gemma's identity, and we're just looking at question 1 and we're looking at her solar stuff, I would say I've drawn on that, so let's just get rid of that, the numbers. But Liz Green uses an orb of 10. So I would say that she has Sun conjunct Saturn, even though they're white, even though that's 10 degrees apart. The Sun and Saturn, the Sun is so fundamental that Liz Green uses an orb of 10. So I would say she has Sun conjunct Saturn and Sun trine Moon, which is a very nice aspect. And we could say Sun square the nodes if we wanted, or Sun at the bendings is what astrologers say. Or we could ignore it. I would probably, if you're going to put it into the AI, Gemma, do you hate AI?
Mm-mm.
Huh?
No.
No. No, she got Mars at 0 Aquarius because she doesn't hate AI. But the dispositor is where you get more information. So the dispositor is she's a Taurus, yeah? So which planet, chat box, which planet rules Taurus? I've lost the chat box. Venus. Yes, great. Venus rules Taurus. So to understand her Taurusness, you look at the Venus, the dispositor. So if you're going to whack something, well, let's do it before the AI, and then we follow the prompt that I've put in the next slide. Yeah, we'll do it with Gemma, then we can ask questions about your dispositors. We understand that she's 11th house to her. She's kind of community focused. She likes groups. She likes people. She's kind of humanitarian. She's going to take life, as it is. She's a Taurus, so she's steady. She's loyal. Her values are maybe to do with the earth. Maybe she is very abundant, very generous. Maybe she is creative. Taurus things. So we start putting the Taurus words in. We see that she's got Sun trine Moon, so there's some kind of ease in her emotional flow, and that there's not a disconnect between how she feels inside and the person she manifests outside. There's something quite practical and steady, you would say, with the Sun trine Moon in Earth signs. She's got Sun and Saturn together. It's wide, so it's not too oppressive, but it adds to the fact that she's practical. She could be hard on herself. She's determined. She's responsible. Sun and Saturn together. And we've got a very earthy flavor here. And then you look at the Venus, which is the dispositor of that Taurus, and think, okay, she's on it. She's making shit happen. She's definitely that responsibility. And then the fire is part of the overall picture of what's going on. This is somebody who's kind of, yeah, motivated to make life happen. So then I'm just going to stop share and go to another screen, which is this one. And move my head and present again. So we've gone with the facts, and then we go to the next slide, which is when you put all this together, you collate some keywords about your vibrant solar identity. So I would recommend using ChatGPT to help with this, because I think this is the kind of brainstorming where it really comes in handy. But if you want to stay authentic, don't bother. So the prompt is, what career advice would you give to someone who has their sun in the 11th house, conjunct Saturn and trine the moon in Virgo, and disposited by Venus in Aries in the 10th? Now, I mean, if you break it down, it's quite doable. So you can all do this now. And also, if anyone has a question about the dispositor, just whack it in the chat box or put your hand up. I'm going to look at you all, see how the vibe is. Has everybody followed that? Or are some people like, what the hell? I think people are Googling. You're all quite quiet. Either that or you're chatting to each other. Elizabeth, are you thumbs up? Yes. I'm on the floor. Get away from the family. In a room with no desk. Gemma, have you whacked that in? I am not sure what the dispositor. Okay, Alessandra.
Yeah, I will now.
Alessandra, do you want to tell me your chart? You don't have to, actually. You can just tell me your sun sign if you don't want to tell me your chart.
Yes, I can tell you the chart. So it's 9th of November, 1989.
Yeah.
The time, midnight and 20 minutes.
Nice, easy one. Where?
Milan.
Milan. No, I don't know if I have to do Italy. Go. Okay, so let's just share the screen for everybody as another example. I won't draw on this one for speed. So she's a Scorpio. Now you have a choice with your dispositor here. Well, actually you don't, because they're both in Scorpio. Because Scorpio is either ruled by Mars or Pluto, and she's got them together. So that is pretty mental. Alessandra, what do you do? Just out of interest.
Like work-wise.
Yeah, translation, languages, singing, like what is it? Therapy?
No, I work with dogs. Very
Oh,
simple.
dogs.
At
That's
the moment.
Pluto.
I
That's
don't know
Pluto.
if it's aligned as
Well,
a profession.
Pluto's a dog.
Yes? Yeah.
And you have Sun
With-
conjunct Pluto. So I used to do pet insurance, and I have Pluto in the 6th. And when the astrologers found out I had Pluto in the house of work, the 6th house, they were like, oh my God, wow. And I did insurance as well. And insurance is like an 8th house thing of sex, death, and other people's money. And my Venus was in the 8th. So I had like Pluto. I had like pet insurance in my chart, which also works as astrology, obviously. But yeah, that's really good, because we've got Sun identity strongly involved with Pluto, because Pluto is the underworld. Dogs dig. My dog has destroyed the grass because he's always digging. So you've got, yeah, your dispositor is either Mars or Pluto, but it doesn't matter because they're together in Scorpio. So it makes sense that you work with dogs because you're so scorpionic. But how are you working with dogs? In what
Dog walking. So
Okay,
dog
but
walking.
you talk to the dogs. You are, you know, you're so deep. You're so deep that yeah.
Yeah, I have a good connection with the group.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's amazing. It's a great yeah, manifestation of that. Okay, great. So but that is phase one. Has everybody got their prompts? Has everybody read their stuff? Has anybody got any questions? Gemma, did you get any good kind of aligned stuff? Has Gemma gone?
No, I'm here. The problem is
Where?
that what do you mean where? Am I here?
There, okay.
I can't, sorry, I'm working off the workbook. I've got a different workbook to you, and I don't have that prompt in my workbook.
Oh,
I've got the where you shine paper thing.
paper. She printed it, ladies and gentlemen.
But I haven't got the other PDF. So if anyone could
Oh
paste,
no, you've not got my slides. Yeah, that's fine.
yeah, can anyone paste that?
Oh, okay, I'll paste it.
And then I can put it into ChatGPT. Thank you very much.
I'll paste it. That was part of my plan. I remember now.
Oh, that makes sense. I was just looking for an extra workbook that I didn't have.
I was like, bloody hell, have I given her the wrong thing? What have I sent? Sorry, also, by the way, about all the weird code at the beginning of the last email. I've emailed my email people to be like, what the hell is that?
Okay, got it. Thank you.
There we go. Okay, so you can do that. Now then, well, actually, while Gemma does that, did any of you manage to kind of search that, or should we come back to that in a bit?
I think she works with fashion or
Okay, you got straight in.
she works with something sustainable, maybe with a community. Gemma,
Mhm. Mhm.
with sustainability or something with fashion,
Afraid not.
She uses her
community.
community is a thing for sure, but she's a writer. She writes plays. But her husband is an architect. And I always think it's amazing that Gemma's really like, she's so, you know, she's like a powerful career woman, but still her son Saturn describes her husband better than it describes her.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay.
Because she's doing the writing thing. She's has like Sarah's and Gemini stuff. Yeah, there's like Sun conjunct Saturn.
But she has the Venus in the 10th house, correct? In Aries.
Yes, exactly.
That's the only thing I saw. So
Yeah.
maybe, but you like, I don't know, I thought that she worked with a community, maybe sustainability.
I
Venus.
teach. I do teach.
Mm.
You got a right. She's got like a writer's retreat,
Oh, okay.
haven't you?
Yes.
Mm.
Okay, look, you can see her thinking, let's
I'm just reading the AI.
yeah. Okay, next pitch. Let's get rid of that. It's gonna be easier. Big screen, please. Big screen, big screen. So the wisdom of your ascendant. Now, when I was thinking about this, you know, I spent a bit of time thinking about it because there is this thing of, do people get you right on first impression? And are they supposed to get us right on first impression? Or maybe there's something, I know that I have a yod to my ascendant in my birth chart. So people often get me very wrong. And also because I have Mercury, Neptune as my chart ruler, people project all sorts of shit on me. I'm fairly consistent in the way I express, but people will always be like, oh, I didn't like you at first, but I like you now. I'm like, well, that's you. That's got nothing to do with me. But it's really maybe, or less, you know, less to do with me than I think. But it's got like, how do we present? Do we present ourselves? Excuse me. Or not. So and this is just, I wanted you to answer these questions without like Googling or without thinking about your chart. You just sit with your notebook. If you're doing the AI, just stop for a second. Do you feel that people get you on first impression? Yes or no? And does that support or conflict with your career goals? Do you feel that people see you differently in different situations? And how is that? Do people professionally read you differently to your social group? Like, yeah, they probably do. But how so? I'll give you a second on that. How would you like people to think of you when they first meet you? How would you like it? Do you feel consistent in your interactions with others?
Hmm.
What is your chart ruler? What does the area of life need to thrive so that your work can flow? I mean, we'll come back to that. And what would it look like if you trusted the unique intelligence of your rising sign and your chart ruler that little bit more? Which is something I've never really thought about. But just for the purposes of this, I was like, what if we really considered our chart ruler something to know and something to connect with? I'm going to an astrology conference in a few weeks, and I got an email being like, we're all dressing up as our rising sign. I was like, okay. What does that, what would that entail? How would you go with that? I mean, you can also do that. That's a good question. If you were to go to a fancy dress party dressed as your rising sign, what would that be? Bonus question. Yes, the chart ruler is the rising sign. So I'm just going to do a show of hands here. Do you feel that you present like your rising sign? And do you feel that people read you well? Or are you expressing how you would like to express, or do you think there's room for confusion? I don't know how you can answer that with your hands. Maybe you can comment in the chat box. Do you feel like is there an easy expression of yourself, or do you feel that there is something getting in the way? And let's keep this to the context of work. Ilse imagined. The older I get, the more my rising sign and sun are in balance. Nice. Present. Okay, so the prompt. Let's meditate before we do the prompt. Does anyone need help? Does anyone not know this? The chart ruler is the planet that rules your rising sign. So I'm Gemini rising, Mercury is my chart ruler. If you're Scorpio rising, you can pick between Mars and Pluto, or you can have a little dance, maybe it's both of them. And it changes depending on, I think there's so much more nuance to stuff like that. So if you're Pisces rising, you can have Jupiter or Neptune. If you're Aquarius rising, you can have Saturn or Uranus. I think that's it, isn't it? Pisces, Aquarius. And if you, I don't know, if you fancy some asteroids, you can have it. Jodie looks like her rising sign, but a lot of people don't get me right on first impressions. Yeah. Yeah. Lucinda's Leo rising with Sun in the 5th, and people see her as more confident. Yes. I think that's true of all Leo rising. because presentation is everything, but what's underneath is often much more fragile. Scorpio rising. Anyway, so we're going to meditate now. Does anybody need a hand knowing which planet to meditate with? I think Aries is Mars, Taurus is Venus, Gemini, blah, blah. Okay. Libra is Venus. Yeah, exactly. So close your eyes. Relax a minute. Got all the tech, we've got all the brain stuff going on. I don't know if you can hear the birds. And settle in. Relax your hips. Sit comfy. Let your imagination take the lead. So which planet, which god or goddess is your best advocate? Who is your chart ruler? Your best friend? The person who puts a good word in for you? And what does your chart ruler want for you? You can imagine them maybe dressed according to the sign that they are in, or the house that they are in. If your chart ruler is Venus in Aries, imagine her dressed, ready to fight. So imagine your chart ruler in the sign that they're in the house that they're in, and have a conversation. See if they've got a message for you. Got really carried away. I'm back. I was in it. I'd never met my Mercury in Capricorn before. What about the rest of you? Maybe you want to write it down. I probably should. But oh yeah, we got pen and paper. I was really trying to find out if Mercury in Capricorn would be a thief. I was like, is he committing fraud? I was like, no. And if any of you got anything interesting, feel free to share it in the chat box. Oh, nice. Look after yourself. Yeah. Gemma. Lucinda, I think the combination of the Leo, Leo rising, Sun in Capricorn. Oh, yeah, of course. In the 5th. Yeah. Yeah, the Capricorn Leo thing is really interesting because both are bosses, both are in leadership. But obviously Leo's far more confident. But the Capricorn sun gets to be quite confident. There's definite leadership there, isn't there? Can be too full of itself, yeah. But I think Capricorn prevents that. It's like when you're older, you'd be like, but still with Capricorn, there's that wisdom, I think. Gabby, a reminder to balance me before balancing others. Love that. I could really see this like very petite Mercury, like in his suit in the office, being like really brilliant, you know, like 0 degree Capricorn, like in the office, so efficient, in the 8th house, like in charge of all the finances. But and then they're like, but can we trust this Mercury? Can we ever trust Mercury? But like how is that Mercury playing out? How is the trickster playing out? How is it being charming? How is that? You know, what is it doing? I would pursue that exercise actually. Sarah, I think I need to go back to the routine. Taurus rising with Venus in Scorpio almost at the same degree. Yeah, but meditate. Like, what does that Venus look like? What messages she got for you? What is she trying? It's a it's a spiritual exercise. This is about naming the planet that is your chart ruler, the sign that they're in, and the house that they're in, and maybe some aspects if there's some strong aspects or whatever comes to you when you invoke your chart ruler, and see them in their natural domain and how they behave, and see what message comes through. Jody, Pluto and Scorpio in the 11th house. Did you meet Pluto, Jody? Did you all manage to meet your planet? Or at least see them? And if this might be new to you, I've been meditating on planets for years. So when I have to think of the god, like I know something about the god. Jodie kept seeing Persephone. Okay, yeah, she's gone. But have you got any Virgo going on, Jodie? Carol, rising sign Aries, Mars in the 7th of Scorpio. So you could be stronger and deeper than you think. Yeah, I love that. Virgo MC. Okay, brilliant. Taking you up there. Meditating on the planets is something I did a lot in lockdown when we all spent a lot of time on Zoom. I used to do Let's Get Mythical and then like do it in detail. I read a great book and there was one meditation on Mercury that you can all do. Something along the lines of you turn your head over each shoulder like that, and then you close your eyes and you imagine yourself going all the way around. And then you do it again and you can go further because you've just imagined it. And you're like playing with Mercury. Anyway, there we go. Stay on topic. Sure. So, and okay, now we can go back to the prompts. And I will actually do this because that is what people want. It's far more useful. Zoom, stop share. Yeah. So I have Capricorn rising at 5 degrees of Capricorn. My chart ruler, Saturn, where it says my chart ruler, Saturn is at 15 degrees of Sagittarius in aspect to blah, blah, blah. This is where you really want to go in deep. The planet, is this too much? Maybe let's break this down into 2. There's part 1. That's part 1. And if you want to go in deeper, it's when you put in the dispositors, the planet that rules the sign, that's when you get really good juicy prompts. That's when you get great information on the AI. When you put in more layers, you know that probably by now. Disposits, yeah, spell check never likes disposit. So I was playing with this obviously when I was writing it, and I found this to be useful. Okay. Anyone need any help? I'm going to go with no, you don't. Okay, let's move on, because once you put the prompt in and you've got it, then you can do that on your own time. If you need any help with any of that, shout me now. So your MC, I've been banging on about the MC a lot of late. My dad's coughing outside. Oh, do Ralphie. Your MC. When it comes to your professional life, your MC is the highest point. You're at the top of your game. What ideally would you be doing? And that now is just a question. But you can write it. You know, Jodie, you with your Persephone coming up, what if maybe Persephone had a message for you? When you're at the top of your game, what would you be doing? Write that down now. Anything that comes to mind. Doesn't have to be true. Just while we're in this zone, what would it be? Would you be writing? Would you be performing? Would you be not working? Would you be being like the professional partner? What would it be? Write that down. We'll do the meditation first because I like that. So the ruler of your MC is the same principle. So if you've got Virgo on your MC, Mercury is the planet that rules Virgo. So they've come to you dressed in their favorite work clothes. Okay, let's meditate. As in, close your eyes, I'll read it to you. So again, you know, we're busy here. We're busy. The screen's in your eyes. There's a lot of words, a lot of thinking, there's a lot of degrees, there's a lot of dispositors, but we're going to just simplify and connect with your MC. The MC is the top of your chart. It's the opposite of your IC. The IC is your root, it's your family, it's where you've come from. It's so rich. It's a rich, rich storehouse of the past. And we are taking you, we are elevating you to the very top. And the planet that rules your MC is dressed ready for work. And what are they wearing? And maybe they have a message for you. And they can tell you about the whatever you're supposed to be doing. Which planet rules your MC? Maybe you want to scribble something down. And then the prompt, which I will actually copy and paste because that's going to be so much easier for you guys. Yes, Joe. And did you have a surprising message from your MC? Or with it being Scorpio, you're not going to tell us? You don't have to. But the prompt is, my MC is at 15 degrees of Scorpio. And the planet that rules my MC, so, you know, that would be brackets as well if I bothered to do that, which in this case would be Mars or Pluto. And Mars, so if this was me, my MC is at 15 degrees of Scorpio, and I have Mars at 15 degrees of Aquarius and Pluto at 3 degrees of Scorpio. Mars is in the 11th, Pluto is in the 6th. And then also, are there any planets aspecting my MC? What can you tell me about my professional life? See what the chat says. So Jo has all this Scorpio, and she's decided that transformation looks like a holographic jumpsuit instead of doom and gloom broody boxy suit. See what the AI says. Because I got my Scorpio stuff wanted to be more hidden, actually. More incognito. Gabrielle. MC's Cancer, ruled by the moon, Aries moon. So she comes in strong, direct, not strong, comes in direct, with passion and energy, but also nurturing and supporting, yes. Good mix for a coach and consultant. I reckon in later years, I'll foster new mums with babies. Yes. I see that. Great. Everybody else need any help? Getting anywhere? Anybody not know which planet to meditate with? Or not get anything useful? Look at my Cancer IC, by the way. How funny was that?
Oh, sorry. I was just going to ask a quick one. What the Oh, I've just lost the prompt now. Is it the house? So the house that my MC is in, that's the house I need to put into the prompt.
Well, the MC is basically the 10th house, but if you've Placidus, then if you know which house your MC is, you can say which
Yeah.
house. Do you know?
It's in the 10th. So I've got Cancer.
Yeah, because
Degrees, yeah.
great. So yeah, the MC, it's depending on the house system. The MC is sometimes the 10th anyway, sometimes not. But the planet that rules it. So if you've got MC Scorpio, no, let's use an easier one. If you've got MC Gemini, which house is Mercury in? Because that's going to tell you, like, we're doing Gemini stuff, but we've got Mercury in Leo in I don't know which house it could be. 10th, 11th, 12th. I don't know. I can't do the maths today. But yeah, do you know what I mean? Okay. Oh, great. We've got a copy paste here. You can all feel free to do the copy paste. This is lovely. Carola. MC's at 9 Capricorn. The planet that rules you MC is Saturn, and that's in your first. Deeply tied to your identity, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, great. Love it. Great. Thank you for sharing. Right, coming back. Okay, so we've got the MC, we've met the MC, it's told you something, and you've meditated on your MC dispositor ruler. And then the dispositor if you want to go deep. So self-regulation. This was a bit of a rogue one, but this is a quick kind of brain relaxer before we get into Jupiter. So lunar regulation ideas, simple ideas, but just as a concept for thinking, what is it that your body needs for calm? Maybe a lot of you know this already, but just thinking, house of moon, sign of moon. House of moon, sign of moon. read both, and think, well, yeah, I knew that. This is how I roll. And maybe when you are sort of writing up your notes later or pondering on all the things that you've put together, how do you build this in to your next step plan? How do you make sure you've got a bit of this? The Zen, your bodily needs. And what does it mean for you? Okay, you screenshot that? Got that? Everyone got that? Great. We shall move on. Present. Jupiter's way. Okay. So we're going to do two things with Jupiter now, because I think that when we're looking at luck and expansion and really how to use astrology for growth and getting in the flow, Jupiter is one of the things. Obviously, Venus is, all the planets are important. Venus in particular, like values-led stuff, we could spend a lot of time on Venus. There's all sorts to, but there's something about Jupiter that is the growth factor. And Jupiter is moving into Cancer on the 9th of June. And Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. Jupiter loves to be in Cancer. So we've got a very powerful growth spurt coming our way, which a lot of people are feeling. A lot of people are saying 2025, I think it's a big year. Am I going to have a big year? It feels like a big year. And I think Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system. And he's going from Gemini, which is small and scattered, and has been a bit like the whole thing, because for a lot of Jupiter in Gemini, we've had square to Saturn in Pisces, which I think has put a dampener on it. I know a lot of Geminis who have not had the Jupiter in Gemini experience. The majority of Geminis have had some kind of overwhelm, because Jupiter is in his fall in Gemini. No, not fall. He's in detriment in Gemini. He's in dignity in Sagittarius. Gemini and Sag in opposition. Jupiter rules Sag. Big ideas, big belief. Let's go. Don't need the detail. Just need to know need to have some faith and trust and law of attraction, and we'll be on our way. Whereas with Jupiter and Gemini, we're like, but how? How does the law of attraction work? Will it work? It kind of stopped working because we tampered. Instead of just planting the seed and watering it and letting the sun do its thing, we keep digging it up. So with Jupiter and Gemini, it's not, full flow. And of course, it can be great. And one of the things that I want to think about on the next slide or the slide after is how do we use this next month of Jupiter and Gemini? Particularly if you are a Gemini or a Sag or a Virgo or a Pisces born the last 10 days of the sign. How are you really going to amplify this Jupiter in Gemini and write and express yourself and launch your podcast or write your book? Do things that Jupiter is blessing, because Jupiter does bless, but Saturn is square and Neptune is square and the nodes are square, because we've had all this Pisces stuff. So it's been a little bit like, woo. But then Jupiter's moving into Cancer and it's growth. I could have probably labored that a little bit more, in my newsletter and stuff, and be like, Jupiter's getting into Cancer, because I did a big Jupiter workshop when Jupiter moved to Taurus, because Taurus is abundance. And when Jupiter moved into Taurus, it's like, how are we going to really make sure we are sitting with that? And that, because I won a load of money like 4 days after Jupiter moved into Taurus, because I was ready. So, but activating Jupiter must be done with care and no hubris, because hubris, basically assuming that Jupiter is going to do great things for you, is a problem. It's always a problem. So question, to get you in your body before we go into the prompts. What do you already know about the luck and alignment in your life? And have you noticed what feels like flow to you, or what sort of decisions or things you need to think about to get yourself into that flow state? What do you already know? I'm just going to write an answer. Okay, I've stopped. I hope you have too. Okay, let's put this in the chat box for you. Oh, we got some messages. Resonate much more with sign than house. Is that for Jupiter? So, oh, right. Much more than sign than house. Could you switch the house system, Ilse? So, sorry, with this prompt, how can I, the question that I actually asked the chat GPT was, let's see, Jupiter. I think it was, how can I, oh yeah, I have Jupiter, blah, blah, blah. How do I activate luck? That was the question I asked. Let's put that in. So hopefully you're getting some answers to that. I asked prosperity. Okay. Same. Prosperity works. You can ask that, luck and prosperity, or luck or prosperity. They're all Jupiter things. But luck is what is luck? You know, it's one of those questions that I've seen on TV shows so many times, you know, like Chris Martin or being like, we got lucky. There's so many people who want to make it in the music industry. We got lucky. There is this thing of like your lucky break, or people reaching out to you, or crossing paths, or you could even ask, how do I activate the synchronicities if you want to take the luck out of it? Because Jupiter is the planet of the law of attraction. It is right place, right time. It is luck. But it's, how do we call it? How do you want to interact with it? But if we're getting into divine flow, point one, how do we activate our Jupiter? How would you, considering, so, I asked it, my Jupiter's in Capricorn, like everything in my chart. Is this screen share? Yeah. So wait, everything I do has to be quite Capricorn, you have to be prepared. You have to do the long way because Saturn slows things down. So there's all that. So how do you activate your Jupiter? If you've got Jupiter in Sag, some of you have probably, lucky you. Because you're kind of born, you're there with it. But everybody has a Jupiter and everybody has to turn it on. And get into the flow. And sometimes we'll have Saturn transits and we'll be less Jupiter. But how can we turn up the noise on the Jupiter? How can we turn up the activity on the Jupiter? My Jupiter is at this degree of this house, aspecting or aspected in this way. How do I activate luck? And you can share your answers if you want on what it's saying, you know, activate it, voice it, put it out there. Or if you think, you know, if it gives you a thing, give you a suggestion, how do I activate luck? Can you suggest something? Yeah. So 1, you switch on your Jupiter, but then we're going to be working with transiting Jupiter as well. What we got? Let's have a look in the chat box. Work with healers in depth. Great. Oh, yeah, she is. Jupiter in Sag. She's got it. Sharing her teachings. Oh, look at you all with Sag. Mine's in Sag in the 5th. Your creativity. Not sure of the aspects. Okay, we can look at that later. Scorpio in the 7th. Opposition to your Saturn. Wow. Okay, I see. Mm. Mm. Oh, Lucinda and Gemma have got Jupiter in the 5th. In Sag. Wow. Wow. Twins. What's that, like twins with wine? Okay. We're going to do more Jupiter stuff. Prosecco for lunch. Birthday. We are twins. So, yes, we've activated the luck. On the 9th of June, Jupiter moves to Cancer. I love that. Everybody keep sharing, keep thinking, keep pushing. Like, what is it? And for those of you who feel like you put the brakes on, I get that. And that, you know, I would dig into, how do I allow all the abundance? How can I make space? Because that is vast. I think having Jupiter conjunct Neptune and the Neptune at the 29th degree, I can see why there would be part of you that would, as particularly the Capricorn part of you, that's like, that is too big. But maybe how can you give it away? Also, separate point, and I forgot to write this down, but I thought it when I was making the slides, is with Jupiter, you get what you give. One of the principles of Jupiter is you can only receive what you've given away, what you're giving. So how can you give more of the message of your Jupiter? So for the purposes of this class, we'll be looking at the opportunities of Jupiter in Gemini, the last dregs, followed by exalted Jupiter in Cancer. So when trading, Christine Skinner suggests investing in Jupiter 12 months ahead, as it's where things will grow. So we're already a bit late for Jupiter in Cancer, but Jupiter in Leo, the first thing that springs to mind is children's education, because Leo is children and Jupiter is education. So if you were investing, you know, if there's like, also let's consider that Pluto's in Aquarius opposing Jupiter, and Pluto is tech. The first thing I thought of, don't know if it's intuition, would be investing in these online schools, these digital. My friend's got a school, Minerva, which is actually Jupiter's daughter, Minerva Academy online, like this massive school that he was just doing tutoring when I used to work in a co-work space with him, and now he's got this, like, I've started going on LinkedIn all the time. He's like there every day being like, we've done this, this and this. But investing in him is a good thing to do now, because he's going to blow up, I would say, when Jupiter gets to Leo, which will be 13 months from now, more or less. So, and anything Jupiter in Leo, theatre, Leo things, lions, literally. But I don't know. You brainstorm. Christine Skinner's better than me at that. Actually, her book, The Financial Universe, which came out in 2019, has a paragraph on every single Jupiter and what you would invest in. Like when Jupiter's in Capricorn, you invest in watches. And then weirdly, when Jupiter was in Capricorn, like it was the pandemic and people were buying shit and like the watches really went up. So you're looking ahead at the opportunity, but what we're doing, we're not just looking at what we would invest in. Like, where would you invest in your chart according to that projection, so that you're lined up ready for that? Because I remember Frank saying when I was first studying astrology, you can have this awesome Jupiter transit, you can have Jupiter on your descendant, but if you decide to stay in bed and order Deliveroo, then, you know, the Deliveroo driver bringing you Ben and Jerry's is your fucking Jupiter transit, which is fine if you're tired and you just want the ice cream, because he's, you know, you'd probably get lucky and, you know, sometimes they give you like a little extra thing. You'd probably, that would be it. Great. You have to go out and meet these planetary aspects. They're going to happen, but there is this kind of co-creation of like, how wide are you going to open the door? And are you allowing for it? And what are you giving away? Are you moving? That's why you get what you give. With, you know, if you want new things in your life, you got to throw some old shit out, because laws of the universe. So if we're thinking about Jupiter being expansive and opening the door, we're looking at houses. Have you all got the houses thing? Because I think a lot of you joined afterwards. But I don't know if it's still in the chat. But which house of your birth chart is Jupiter in now? And where will he move to when he moves into Cancer? Which house will he move into? Because that's where you're going to grow. Let's just read this chat box quickly. What did I just say about Leo? I just said theatre because Leo is performance, and Jupiter getting to Leo in about 13 months, there could be something to do with theatre, but I don't have any specifics. However, you know, I'm sure it's a thing. Jupiter in Leo, some kind of performance. But where's the niche? I don't know. And maybe it's about community. Bear in mind, Pluto's in Aquarius. So when Jupiter does move into Leo in 2026, he will oppose Pluto. Okay. And Pluto's in Aquarius, and it's all techie. And Leo is the performer. So that's why I was thinking digital school, but also some kind of community effort, Aquarius, theatre, or any of you can think of anything else. Pluto is in Aquarius, and then Jupiter will get away from Pluto, but initially that's the first bang. Sarah, on the 9th of June, Jupiter will be at 29 degrees. Yes. Yes. And then 0 degrees Cancer. So yeah, I can show you that actually, because I stole some ephemerides. Do you have planets at the late degrees of the mutable signs or early degrees of the cardinal signs? Because, and we're going to do this now, we're going to sit with this for a minute. Because timing something to play into that transit could be really powerful, because we love Jupiter for launching. So highlight depends on charts. So I've got the ephemerides. We'll go through them. I'm just going to explain how it works. Let's just have a look. How many of you have worked with an ephemeris before? That thing I just showed you. No one. Carola has. She's got the book, baby. She's not fucking about. Okay. Here we go. Great. Looked at them, but that's it. Fine. Good. I did wonder when I was making this. I was like, because we're all learning digitally. So I'll send you the link. I just Googled it, ephemerides, but it's nice to have the paper one. So I've got a. Do you know what? I used to have my big one with me constantly, but then I moved house a million times, so I don't. I just Google them all the time. But yeah, oh my God, I was married to that thing for the first few years of chart reading. I kind of memorize a lot of stuff now, to be fair. But like in the big book that Carola just showed you, like, where is Saturn? So when you've got a client and you want to look at where their Saturn return was, you would want to, you'd look back. I know where Saturn was now all the time back to 1950. So yes, I can let myself off. But this is how we do it. So let me explain what we're doing here. So we got the pen. Let's get the pen. It's there. So this is the sun. This is the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. Yeah? So all of these are basically just lists. So this is all the moons moves, Mercury's moves, Venus's moves, etc. That's Pluto. That's the North Node. My head's in the way. Right. So when we're looking at Jupiter, this is now May the 5th. Is it 22 degrees? 22 degrees Gemini. And so what you tend to do is like go through and you start highlighting things that are interesting. So you go, oh, look, there's Saturn at 0 Aries. That's interesting. And also you highlight all your transits. So look, there's Mercury on my moon. Interesting. Oh, look, there's Mercury on my ascendant. I'd circle that. So you get your highlighted. You can go on Amazon. They do them. You can buy the big fat book, or you can buy an annual ephemeris every year and just highlight it to know when all your big transits are going to happen. And then you can also see when something's going to go retrograde. Oops, I didn't mean to stop share. Are all those red lines still on the screen for you? Do I need to get rid of them? Hopefully they've gone. Anyway. Okay, Charlie Cinder. Look to them, that's it. Blah, 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 blah. And watch me use it. Okay, good. So, oh, my bum. I nearly took myself to A&E this weekend because I fell down the stairs on the 18th of March and I still can't sit down. And when I got my hair cut, the hairdresser was like, what do you mean you can't sit down? Go to the doctor. And I was like, oh, they won't be able to do anything. She's like, they might. Anyway, so that's May. And that's June. And in June, you can see that here we have Jupiter moving. So when we wake up on the 10th, it's already in Cancer. And then we have July. And I'll send you these slides. But you can, I would advise getting a book, to be fair. And you can see where can I show you a retrograde? Here's an R here, so you can see my mouse here. So July the 18th, we've got a Mercury station at 15 degrees of Leo. And we can see that Saturn station is here. That's a R for retrograde. And what I just wanted for you all here is now, I don't know how familiar you are with the degrees of your charts, but if you have anything here, look, so this is at 26 degrees of Gemini. If you have anything at 26 of Sag, then you've got Jupiter opposing it. Pisces and Virgo as well, and that would be square it. But you can highlight when that is. Conjunctions, oppositions are kind of most interesting. And you can also think, okay, you know, for a start, we always have the ingress chart. So if you have anything in Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, or Libra, when Jupiter gets to Cancer, there's a shift. But particularly if you've got planets on or around 0 degrees of Cancer, Capricorn, and then maybe Aries and Libra because it's a square. So if we're working with that and you want to pick some dates for stuff, what kind of experiences, where are we focusing? So let's just pare it back because it's easy to overcomplicate this. Because, you know, we can go into nuts level detail, like astrologer style, all astrologers launching their course on the same date, which, to be honest, you find astrologers all launching stuff, but then all the other people, because they've just done it intuitively. And I always find that interesting. Like one way or another, you're gonna do it, intuition or astrology. But which house, when Jupiter moves to Cancer, that's 9th, 10th of June, which house is being activated? think of just 3 things now that you would want to focus on, or that you would want. What do you want? Like, Jupiter's going to get to your 4th house. What do you want to do with your home? Are you looking to move home? Are you looking to heal your relationship with your parents? Are you looking to, it could be something about diet, I guess. Are you looking to redecorate? Are you looking to feng shui the place? Are you looking to invite more people around? Like, what first springs to mind? You can, on the 10th of June, Jupiter will move into my ex house, not your ex's house, into my house of, and I would like to activate XYZ. Let's try that. I'm gonna do it with you so I know how long to time it, because when you're waiting for people to write things, time takes on this weird, like, has it been 10 seconds or 5 minutes? I don't know what Astro-Seek is. I asked what should I do to prepare. You asked the AI what you should do to prepare. That's great. If that's what you mean. Even if you didn't, it's a great idea. How can I prepare? Type it in the chat. I have natal, well, you've got the Jupiter prompt already. Blah, blah. Where is it? Yes. How do I actually look? And how do you recommend I prepare for Jupiter entering Cancer and my Oh, I did it. Great. That's it. My goal is, this was the prompt I created. Okay, so we got 10 minutes left, and I want to use that to get interactive. Sorry, this is a 90-minute event. I realized the Zoom link was only an hour. Wally. Well, yeah, we got this too. Okay, that's your Jupiter prompt. Bash it in. So how do you work best? How do you work best? How are you going to set yourself up? So this is a bit like the moon. This is about looking at your 6th house and thinking, okay, what is my work style? Am I like a routine person? Am I like an erratic person? You might know this already. But again, I found it really helpful to kind of A, think about it, B, put it in the AI, and just have it confirm back to me that this is my style. And so your 6th house cusp describes how you work. Now, different houses will say different things. Let's just go with the whole sign one that you've got the sheet for. So I have Scorpio on my 6th with, I like to use Pluto, really, but you might want to use Mars. Lots of people would use Mars and not Pluto if they're traditional astrologers. So I would say Pluto. I have Pluto in the 6th as well. Do I feel introverted or extroverted? That's just for your information, because I do want to keep us feeling and not just asking the AI who we are. Like, do you feel that you work best in an introverted way or an extroverted way? So I have, this is the prompt basically. Because the planet, what is considered cusp? I'll show you. You can see my mouse. So this is Alessandra. And this says she has Capricorn on the cusp of her 6th. But if we put it whole, would it be the same? Not sure. Yeah, still the same, Capricorn. And let's just put Gemma back. So Gemma has Sag on the 6th house cusp. And if we put Placidus in, is it the same? Yes, still the same. Okay. So the cusp is this line here. The line that cuts between the houses is, so the 1st house cusp is your rising sign there. And then your 2nd house cusp is that one. And we're always going anti-clockwise. So your 6th house cusp is this. So we've got, that's how you read it. Which sign is there next to that line. And then we go here. That's how we do it. And it will tell you. So Gabby says, I'm Pisces 6th house, but no planets. No, you'd still say, here's the prompt. Look, I have Pisces on my 6th house cusp with, in Gabby's case, Neptune. Oh, no. With any planets in the 6th. Gabby, let's just do Gabby's chart so I can elucidate on that. Gabby, are you
Yes.
happy? Tell me.
2nd of December, 1980. Is that what you need? Just had a
Yeah,
mind blank.
yeah. 2nd of Dec, 1980. Yeah,
Yeah, 2:25 a.m.
yeah. Where?
Red Hill in Surrey.
So she has Pisces on the 6th, and she has nothing in the 6th. So with that prompt, you would, there's nothing in there. But so the style of your working is, you would just be looking really at Neptune and maybe Jupiter if you wanted. And given that you could ask the AI, so I would be saying, I have Pisces on the 6th house cusp with Neptune in Sagittarius in the 3rd and Jupiter in Libra in the 12th. What would you say about my working style?
Amazing.
And I would probably, for extra information, say with Jupiter conjunct Saturn and the Moon in the 12th. Did you
Amazing.
get that? Put it in and see what it says.
See what it says. I might be a bit slow, but thank you very much. That's perfect.
My pleasure. Anybody else got a question on that house? And if you have planets in there, they add flavor. Otherwise, dispositors and houses they are in and conjunctions they are making. Chat, where have you gone? Could you clarify? I have Jupiter at 3 degrees Sag in the 5th, but you are saying that it's the 5th. Gabby, you want me to put that in the AI for you? I just want to put it in. Gabby, Gemma, I'm going to come back to you. Gabby has Pisces on the 6th house cusp with Neptune in Sag in the 3rd and Jupiter in conjunct Let's answer Gemma's question while the AI does its thing. Gemma, what's your question?
Sorry, I got confused. If it's at 3 degrees, is that what counts as squarely in a house and what counts as cusp? And it does,
Oh, yeah.
so does my Jupiter belong in the 5th, or is it just on the cusp of the 6th?
I'd leave it in the 5th. You know
Okay.
how astrologers say if it's within 5 degrees, you can shove it in.
I didn't know that, no.
Yeah. So like Israel's was like, you know, when you're at astrology conferences or whatever, whenever a planet's within 5 degrees, they often just throw it in the next house if it suits the agenda of the astrologer. You know, we're creative. We do what we want here. But I would leave it in the 5th because I think it's more fun there. But I would say, you know, Gemma has Sagittarius ruling the 6th house with Jupiter, ruler of Sag, at 3 degrees. The 3 degrees is kind of irrelevant. With Jupiter in Sag conjunct Neptune, tightly conjunct Neptune in the 5th. What would you say about her work style? Or my work?
Thank
That
you.
would be my question. And it's going to be like, whoa, she's so creative and she'd get a lot of inspiration going abroad and teaching and philosophy and spiritual things, probably. Can you still see my screen? Can you see the AI? Sometimes you can't, yeah, because obviously you're quite specific with what we share. So here's Gabby here. So Gabby has Pisces on her 6th house cusp. Blah, blah, blah. Francesca, this is such an ethereal, complex 6th house configuration. Gabby's working style is not linear, not obvious, and not built for systems designed by somebody else. It's lunar, Neptunian, deeply internal, and tied to waves of intuition, inspiration, and invisible forces. Let's break it down. Blah, 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 blah. I'll just copy paste because it's a long day. But let's go to the bottom. Working style in a nutshell: highly intuitive, easily drained, needs meaning, works best alone or in emotionally supportive environments, can channel profound wisdom when she's safe and emotionally attuned. Starts the day with a ritual, use scent or sound, honor your moon cycles, consider working with or near water. And I think this is all kind of on point for you, isn't it? Oh, I see where people are sending them shorter versions. Gabby does spiritual things, don't you?
Yeah, that's mind-bogglingly brilliant. So thank you very much.
Yes, it's nuts, isn't it?
Those little.
There's little what?
I can just imagine like the lights pinging. When you
Yeah.
say light bulbs, like I can confirm many things are pinging. So thank you so much. It's brilliant.
That is that. Like, I mean, it's not really me, but Sarah, you will like this. Your working style: ritualized, beautifully ordered, rooted in sacred repetition, soulful service, devotional artist, beauty alchemist. Yes, it's like what I said the other day. The AI is right. Ilse, so true. You might be someone who burns hot and fast. Wait, I remember your chart, Ilse. You have like some crazy fire. You worked in sales before, didn't you? Have you got Aries something 29 degrees, 6th house or something? High output, also potential burnout. Yes. Yeah. And the importance, that's why, Jupiter in Aries, 29 degrees. With Jupiter coming to sextile that in the 8th. So that's cool. Okay, that's a good example. We can finish with this example. So this is Ilse. She's got Jupiter at 29 Aries. And so if we get to my screen that I have now completely lost, bear with. Oh yeah. Yep, here. So this is a really good example for everybody who isn't used to working with the ephemeris, because her Jupiter is 29 Aries. And when we look at June, we can see that Jupiter's going to be at 29 here for 3 days. And Aries and Gemini are 2 signs apart, so that's a sextile. It's 60 degrees apart. So if she wanted to, well, whatever she's doing, you would look at and think, okay, she's got Jupiter in the 6th natally. Transiting Jupiter is in her 8th, about to go to her 9th, and the 8th is sex, death, and other people's money. Now, of course, we apply some caution to sex, death, and other people's money, but we think the good stuff. Jupiter, like, we take whatever you want to teach us, but we're here for depth, for transformation, maybe some financial restructuring, maybe some rethinking, maybe inviting some deep conversation, because Jupiter is in Gemini in her 8th. But Jupiter and Gemini for all of you. So any of you who have Jupiter at late degrees, you've got the dates now for any aspects being made, and you can work with these days or schedule these days as days to do stuff related that will help you expand, meet the right teacher, meet the right accountant, meet the right, if it's 8th house, maybe she needs a new accountant, but also maybe she could have a really great conversation, Instagram live, if she's doing business promotion, or could be fun. It could be something, something 8th house vibes. But do you get what I'm saying there? So you kind of think, and you can use the AI. If I have Jupiter in the 6th house at 29 degrees Aries, what would you suggest? Blah, blah, blah. If my goal is, and when Jupiter will be at 29, blah, blah, blah. It's about giving it the information and knowing that the maths kind of zings. Did you get that? Wasn't my best explanation piece. Gabrielle, mid-June, what might the Jupiter Saturn... Gabrielle always comes in with questions like this. What is it in your chart? She always knows the transits and is like, come on. What might the Jupiter Saturn square Neptune mean? Let's do it. Do that. I'll show you in the chart as well. So I've highlighted that on the ephemeris. Have you still got those red lines now? Because sometimes they get stuck. And then we'll stop. Current transits here and now. Month. Days. Okay. So let's just move it a few days on. So we've got Jupiter early Cancer, Saturn Neptune early Aries. We got that's a square because we've got cardinal signs. We've got summer solstice point, Jupiter on the summer solstice point, and Neptune and Saturn on the spring equinox point. And we've got Jupiter squaring those two. What do I think it could mean? Don't know. Jupiter's strong in Cancer. I remember years ago seeing Jupiter square a Moon-Pluto opposition and thinking everything was going to blow up, and then forgetting that Jupiter is just so healing. So healing. And given that Saturn is in Aries, and Saturn is where we are blocked, Saturn is where we are fearful, Saturn is where we learn the hard way. What is that about Aries, where we are not feeling good, feeling less than, feeling inhibited? And then the Neptune as well, making everything kind of chaotic, drunk, diffuse, out of step. The Saturn Neptune anyway, I think is interesting because my feeling isn't that Saturn in Aries is going to make us all be like, oh no, I can't do it. Because as well, the other thing we've got to consider, again, sorry if this is too much, but Pluto is here at 3 degrees Aquarius. Pluto is really empowering power to the people. It's also saying there's some really toxic megalomaniacs, but it's also saying power to the people. It's both sides, and which side are we going to activate? And so Pluto is sextile this Saturn, already going, do you know what? Giddy fucking up. And those of people who were born in 1996 have Pluto at early degrees of Sag. So they've got a lovely trine, Saturn trine the natal Pluto, and Pluto at the midpoint of that. So I think the 1996 people, like I said in my podcast last week, I think they're going to have a kind of nice Saturn return, because when the outer planets do create a big powerful sextile, you're not dealing with the normal manifestations anyway. So we've got the Saturn Neptune hopefully healing people, making people remember their autonomy, but there will be the converse, the opposite of people being completely washed away, not feeling good. Jupiter is a healer. Jupiter is a healer, especially in Cancer. So maybe there is some profound rethinking, reconfiguring. But of course, there could also be the completely blowing everything out of all context, and some maybe these fires as well. There's so much fire. But Jupiter's in a water sign, which is, like I said, soothing. That Mars at 29 degrees Leo at the same time could indicate fire. We just need him to bugger off into Virgo. Maybe just the chat box going off. But Gemma, yeah, happy birthday, off you go. Bye, everyone. Expanded delusional delays. Yeah, I really wanted to finish on time, but that was a good question, and I kind of feel like, let's do it now. Is it? That's nice. Yes, I will do that, Elsa. 1 second. Expanded delusional delays. It might be. I'm like, because I talk about it all the time. I have Mercury, Neptune here. And do you know what came to me today is I want to start a new podcast, but maybe I won't do it. But I would like to think that we can do good stuff with this. André Barbeau, the French. Have you heard of André Barbeau? Let's come back to you all. Have you heard of André Barbeau? That might not be correct, but it's nearly that. The surname is something like that. Let's Google it. See if we can get it. Barbault. Yeah. He thinks that this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, February 20th, 2026, is like the best thing ever. But everyone else thinks it's shit. But he apparently, I've heard, he thinks it's like a big rebirth for humanity. So that's what we can aspire to. Right, let's get this going and present and get the moon things up for Ilsa. There we go. And that is it. So obviously there's so much we could go at. But for brainstorming, for looking at how do you give yourself a great working environment? Let's get back to the basics. We regulate ourselves. We understand what works for us. Like, one of the things it said for me was like, you work yourself too hard. And I was like, yeah, I do. So like taking on board whatever it says about, get the basics right. Your 6th house, take note. Give yourself what you need and also know when to stop or know when to start. Could, if you've got Venus there, it could be different. And yeah, so get the basics right. Sun is your whole identity. That shine, heart chakra stuff. Takes, meditate with gold, like self-identity, self-esteem. And then your rising sign, I thought that was interesting, is like, do people read you right? Are you actively, when you go to a new meeting or a networking or a new situation, you can meditate with your chart ruler and think, okay, how we do it, like, come with me. Let's do this. Let's be the most us we can be. How can we, we're networking. We're only giving people the surface. We're giving them what they need to see to connect with me. And you can bring your MC if it's like super professional, or if it's a social situation. How can you say, right, come on, chart ruler, let's really try and connect with these people in the way that we do best, and meditate with your chart ruler. And then Jupiter for growing. And you can apply these principles. You can look at your Mars, you can look at your Venus. I think values, Venus would probably be a good one to put in, just because values work is so core to everything. What do you value? Anyway, we are 10 minutes over, which is kind of my 10 minutes late is kind of my thing. But not anymore. I'm going to bring it in. But hope this helped. If you have any like great insights or it tells you anything, do share, let me know. Any confusion, if you want this, I think we'll try and send you the slides tomorrow anyway. And I think that's all. Thank you so much for being here. Great to see you all. Happy bank hol. And that's it. Stay warm, relax, have a laugh. Do what your 6th house wants and your moon.